But
Yeah.
welcome to the Moon Knight season finale, season 1 finale episode breakdown. Right. Okay. So let me say this real quick. So the reason that was a little bit of a tongue twister was because Moon Knight was originally supposed to be a mini series, right? Right.
Right.
And they're looking at how the positive reception and all of the goodness that what's his name is giving us, and they're like, you know what? Let's turn this into a season thing. And so it's a season finale for season 1. With me to
Look,
do
Disney
this
was like, we got that extra Jack Sparrow money. Just take a portion of that, driving on up to Isaac's house, dump it on the lawn.
I mean, that's money way better spent than Johnny Depp. Like that's
Speaking
a low
of dumping,
bar.
let's talk about Amber Heard.
No.
All right,
So,
where's the door? No. Next, you're gonna be saying, let's talk about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock.
You're done.
Did y'all see the stomping that happened to the man that tried to tackle Dave Chappelle? His arm is the.
You're done too. No, with me to do this episode is Anthony, Dr. KB, and Roy. Roy's been here since episode 1, Dr. KB as well, and Anthony joined last week, and we're rounding this off. So let's the big question is, I think the big question I have to ask, because immediately a friend of mine saw the show this morning and texted me and was like, man, I did not like this series. So the question I'm going to ask you guys is, did episode 6 hit it? Did it do its thing?
I'll go first. No, not for me. There was something that was missing in this episode. I can't quite put my finger on it. I talked about this briefly in the chat. I didn't go into too much detail because I didn't want to lose any thunder. I went back and watched this episode again to try to figure out what it was that it was missing, but there was something clearly missing. Mind you, they pulled from a run of Moon Knight I never was a real big fan of to begin with. And spoiler alert for those that don't know, this is a review of the show. So if you haven't watched the show, pause this right now, watch the show, come back. But the hold off on the whole Jake thing until the end was, I don't know. It seemed like they were hedging their bets that you were gonna watch a post-credit scene with this show. You know what I mean? Like they gave you just enough to pull something out, but it was something missing. It was just something missing that just was not climactic at all. I didn't need this to connect to everything else in the MCU, because if you read a Moon Knight comic, it doesn't often connect to everything inside the 616 anyway. And there's a theory that Moon Knight might not even exist in the 616. So whatever. So I didn't need it to connect to anything else in a larger world, but I needed the story to be something a little bit more. Like they did so many things right, but they did a lot that was just like.
So, in my opinion, Marvel got a Marvel at the end. I feel like Marvel let you do all these different things, and Marvel's like, look, that's enough. Now we're going to stick to our formula. You're going to fight somebody with your same powers. You're going to have some non-cyclical lights in the sky. That's what Marvel does. This let me down a lot. I think Jake was misused. I mean, after seeing all that tease about the violence he could incur, he just shoots somebody with a silencer. It also seems like a waste of Ethan Hawke, who really didn't do anything until the end of the season. Also, he can fly now. I feel like I was out of nowhere.
I was talking about that.
Yeah. Also, why did the crocodile hippo god give her avatar falcon wings? Why are you giving her the Sam Wilson costume? Like, is that the new thing? Like, so black people get lightning powers or they get wings? Is that how we're going? We're going with that now. I didn't understand how Khonshu couldn't affect the physical world very much besides blowing some papers before. But now in this fight, his staff can knock over cars because he grows giant. Like, there was a lot of things. I felt like there was like, we got to wrap this up. Like, we got our good episode. We got our nomination episode. Last episode, let's just wrap this up. And it really didn't. A lot of it really didn't work for me. It didn't land. Also, I am all fine. I don't know anything about this character. I don't know if this character is somebody in comic books. Fine. I'm glad she's an Avatar. I don't like the costume. Glad she's an Avatar. But are you an Egyptian superhero? Just let them be superheroes. Just let them be superheroes. That's all. That's how like Marvel. That's like Marvel going like, hey, we're inclusive. If you didn't know, we're inclusive, and I didn't need that. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just letting you finish, Ant. So
no, I'm finished.
I didn't want to step on your toes.
No.
So for me, I mean, while I see like both with what Ant and KB are saying, I overall found this to be pretty satisfying. I particularly agree with KB where I think that like maybe like 3 to 5 minutes were kind of missing from this episode. Like there was like maybe a little bit something, but I think fundamentally the beats that I wanted were there, right? You know, I think that you got payoff for like I know a lot of criticism was going out like why is Layla like so focused on in the show? Well, you get a reason why, right? It's a setup also for her origin as, you know, I didn't expect him to pull like an obscure Egyptian superhero that was appeared in like a handful of comics in the 70s and 80s into this series, but it was a cool treat. I liked her costume. Yeah, it looked like kind of a knockoff of the Falcon, but it was a cool Egyptian knockout on the Falcon.
Is that what Powers in the comic book, guys?
What?
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. Is that what the comic book? That's what a comic book.
He kind of has an outfit like he kind of looks like the Egyptian Falcon. In the comics, it's her dad is the hero.
Oh.
And so they, you know, he died and so she's the hero in this. Like I was impressed by that. And I thought overall the emotional beats were like what I wanted them to be. I thought that there was some like really fun sequences. Like I particularly liked the like 4-way fight between Hero, Layla, and then Marc and Steven. Like I thought there was a cool like switching back and forth between Moon Knight and Mr. Knight was like really cool. And I actually thought it was probably the best fight in the show, which in some ways is damning with faint praise. But it was like a cool fight that was like doing something kind of different than these Marvel live action shows have done. As much as Ant's 100% right that this is just another Marvel ending, but I think it's a good version of the formula. I think that, you know, the formula works in certain ways. It doesn't always work necessarily, you know, like a lot of people, like the WandaVision finale being an example of, I think, a time it definitely didn't work. But this is an example for me where the formula did land, right? And I felt really satisfied. And I felt that the Jake ending, while like a little like kind of like obvious, like yeah, of course it's going to be like an alter. The like I really like that Khonshu moment where he's wearing the suit and they're in the like and he with Harrow. I thought that was really cool. They should have given Oscar Isaac like a better outfit as Jake, with just like the hat and like it was weird. And he's just like, I'm gonna shoot you through the window. That was a little weird, but I felt that like the Khonshu thing where Khonshu's like, oh, you thought you were safe? I got you. You're dead. And that I liked really, really good. I liked it a lot. So overall, like I think Moon Knight ended on a really strong note. Probably the strongest note since Loki. I think that maybe Hawkeye, I can't include Hawkeye in any of these Marvel discussions because I love Kate Bishop. She's one of my favorite modern Marvel superheroes. So I'm just like in the camp for that show. Like, so I can't offer you like objective analysis. Like I just love that shit. So, you know, trying to remove that from the moment, I'd say this is like the third best Marvel show. You know, alongside WandaVision, which was so good, even though its ending wasn't very good. And then, of course, Loki, which I think is overall consistently the strongest of all the Marvel shows.
I think this episode had a lot to carry. Like, the series moves really slow to build up everything and they need to build up. And I think there's maybe one more episode missing. Also, I don't know if you guys felt it, but this episode really felt short. Like, I was like, that's it? Like, it just ended. It felt like it just ended. And, you know, I wasn't satisfied. I think this series needed either one more episode or one episode needed to be longer, or because the last week's episode, again, like Ant said, that's the nomination episode. That's the Emmys. Give everybody the Emmy right now. Like, that wins them the Emmy. the daytime Emmys, but I feel like this episode didn't. The reason I'm saying this episode didn't land, or this series didn't land because of this episode, is because of what episode 5 did. You don't go up and then, because I think Ant said it last week. The only way to go is up. It didn't feel like they went up. It felt like they they dropped. I mean, I'm not saying it dropped dramatically, just dropped a little bit. Again, the fight was pretty fun. The switching between Mr. Knight and Moon Knight and Mr. Knight, I thought that was pretty cool. The this is us moment, like this is who we are now. We understand. That felt good. Yeah, that's all I got.
So these are things that it makes sense to me, and maybe it made sense to y'all, right?
Mm.
So their plan was to trap the god in him, right?
Mm.
And that was instead of a statue. But everybody else that gets a god inside them gets powers, and this god was more powerful than the other gods, pretty much. That didn't make sense to me. The other thing that makes sense to me is that Hera walked in and just killed all the other avatars. It was like, you guys just diplomats. So all the other major deities couldn't handle the one guy that wasn't bonded to anybody. Also, could his staff always do that? Like, there was a lot I didn't.
I think his
really...
staff became super powered once he had her statue.
I think that's the impression it gives you.
Yeah, proximity to Ammit's statue give him powers, I think.
Yeah,
but definitely one thing I think, Ant, that you might have missed, I think that they kind of make clear is that the avatars are not like the god is giving you power, but they're not like inside you all the time, right? That's in the episode where they have to like trial, where Khonshu is temporarily like.
Oh yeah, he has to now come in. Yeah,
they're connected though, right?
But they're connected, but it's not like they're not one.
Layla, and we get the impression that she's inside her because she's taken over her voice. It's not like Khonshu, where they're separated, or even like the alligator god, where it's separate. The hippo alligator god is actually inside her because she was switching voices, right? Am I wrong about this?
But Khonshu does that to him too. Right, in the scene in the testimony
in the trial, because Khonshu goes into was it Marc at the time and goes, when his voice started changing and he was kind of crying that one episode where Oscar Isaac killed it.
You know what? You're right. They call them avatars. Avatars doesn't mean that you're possessed. It just means that you're a funnel for their. Okay, I got you.
Right.
All right. Maybe.
The spell at the end permanently binds them, right? Where there's a one-to-one relationship, right? So because when Marc dies, Khonshu doesn't, or when Khonshu gets sucked out, it doesn't damage Marc, right?
So the fact that he's inside, the fact that she's inside him now, she's mortal because if he dies, she dies.
Yes.
Okay, that makes more sense. Sorry, thanks for clearing.
There's a piece to this that doesn't make sense though. So
there's plenty that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So remember when they were on a boat, they showed all these souls as falling, and she talks about, there are more people that are dying at an alarming rate or a higher rate. Two continuity errors I have.
Angry souls. Yes.
Yeah, angry souls. First, she mentioned, I haven't seen somebody here in such a long time. But then all of a sudden, there are people falling there all the time. That doesn't make sense. So either people stop believing and coming over there, and then magically all these people that are dying do believe. That kind of doesn't make sense. And also, I realized they did something that I've seen other people do, where they talk about time moves differently when you're dead. And so between the time where they went through the last episode and came back, I guess mere seconds had passed, not even that long, had passed in the real world. Where were all these dead people that had died then at the end of the last episode that fell off? All those purple lights that fell. You get what I'm saying?
Well, she ate him. The crocodile lady ate him, I think, right?
No.
Crocodile lady wasn't out yet. Remember, he had just flipped Marc over to get the.
I see what you're saying.
Because only seconds had passed by.
I don't know.
So who?
I mean, like
all these people that died
of like half a day passes while Marc is dead, right? Because
no, it was only
day.
seconds.
Right. Well, no. I'm trying to think about this. So
it was
because he had to travel. She had to travel, and then he woke up.
He woke up and it was night, right? Or about to. It was like dusk, right? Because Khonshu's like, I'm the god of the night. This is why you can fly, right? And So like the impression I'd gotten is like 6 to 8 hours had passed.
Yeah, a considerable amount of time had passed because
So 6 to
I
8
think
hours
when they-
went from him shooting him to walking over to take the thing from out. You get what I'm saying? Like because
Yes.
he was right there. It doesn't
Shoots
line
him.
up.
No, shoots him, and to get to the sarcophagus or the pyramid where the gods are, that took another.
No.
They
I'm talking
traveled.
about when he shot him. Mark had something on him that he took from off of Mark.
Yes.
Oh, he put the beetle.
Yeah.
Mark.
He placed the beetle on his chest. That's it. That's all that happened.
Yeah. So there was nothing that happened between that time.
Nothing. Oh,
You get what I'm saying now?
Get what you're saying.
There's an odd time difference right there.
So what the question you're asking, I believe, is while Mark was dead, there were souls falling, and there were angry souls because the balance had been upset, right? And when in this week's episode, we just see him. We don't see Mark. Yeah, it
doesn't line up.
So,
or check it. Things are happening while you're dead. Between I think it's. I don't know.
So
Time
I
can
think
be
the way you
different,
can explain, I think I get what. Oh, sorry, Ant. Do you want to go?
No.
ahead?
I was going to say time can be different in different dimensions.
Yes, that's
Definitely the case. But I think it's actually the like purple lights that Mark and Steven see of like souls getting sucked out. That's when he attacks the Egyptian army, right? When they try to stop him, and he does the like purple light thing.
Yes,
and sucks a bunch of like almost all the souls of like 15 or a dozen people, except for that one dude. So I think that is what Mark and Steven see when they're on the boat. Because that would line up with they're dead, unconscious, whatever.
Yeah.
And Harrow is moving because they're awake when he does this whole like purple apocalypse thing.
So there's those two things when she was like, "Oh, I knew your father," but I thought anybody hadn't been there for a really long time, and is like 10 years long for a god. Like that kind of bothered me. Also, we had this emotional thing where Steven went over the boat, sacrificed himself, and got frozen in the desert. And then so it seems like 2 minutes later, yeah, it's okay. Like that was kind of, you know what I mean?
We called that last week, though.
Yeah, but that'd have been a perfect time to switch to Jake. I think Marvel needs to decide what it wants to do with these Midnight Sun types of property, right? Like you can't. It's okay to have loss. It's good to have gritty things. Everything has to be wrapped up in a nice bow. Where everybody gets their happy ending. I wouldn't mind if they bring Steven back next season or even at the end of this episode. But literally, we lose him last episode and we get him back at the like pretty much the beginning of this episode. So it kind of lessened the if we sat down and binged this, it would not flow very well for us. Like it would take away that emotion. It'd be like, oh no, Chewie was on that ship. Oh no, Chewie's alive.
Oh, I know what you're doing. I know what you just did right there. I know what you did right there.
Yeah.
No, but and check it. If we didn't get if Steven didn't come back to life, we're not getting that cool transition between Moon Knight and Mr. Knight. We're not getting that fight.
You can't sacrifice cool for good storytelling. In my opinion.
Exactly.
Cool, good storytelling. Cool, good storytelling.
That's called cotton candy. I want steak.
Okay. Question.
I think this show's actually going to binge better than Ant is giving it credit for.
No, I'm saying this transition.
Transition.
I'm saying that, but I'm not saying the whole show. I'm saying the.
Just
we had
that.
this emotional moment of we lost him in
if
the
you're
forever.
binging it.
Of every season. Then literally 10 minutes later, it's cool.
Because it works. You're saying it works well for week to week, but if you're binging that's right back to back. So it kind of like you lose that a little, right?
That emotional beat's kind of like, oh, okay, no, it's
okay.
It's
so
fine.
I'll ask this because
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off. RR.
No.
Do we say raw? If we say the same, do we just say raw?
We say Roy. It's fine.
Okay. I get what you're saying. I'm not trying to talk over what your point is.
No worries, man.
But that it feels like it wouldn't work for me if I went back and watched, like, you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean, and I get that. Like, I'll be interested because I do plan maybe even this weekend to watch like the whole thing, and I'll report back about whether or not it that specific twist plays better.
All right.
Worse.
Question. So, what were the good moments? Because again, we like to say Marvel because I think we were having a conversation about the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole, right? and we said a lot of them have great moments, right? So what were the good moments from this episode?
As always, these are the best looking television shows we've ever seen. like, and they keep raising that bar. The graphics with the gods were really nice. Huh?
You not watching Halo?
This is better than Halo.
Okay.
The way this is shot is better than Halo, in my opinion. Halo had 30. Well, let me get into this. Anyway, I think this is some of the crispest, cleanest stuff we see in production value on television for this type of media. I think that's great. I think Isaac killed it. I think the acting's been on point. I like the fight. If it was just saying the fight, hey, it was cool to see him. I feel like I'm negative. I don't know what the stakes are for these people when they're powered up. Marc was impaled 2 episodes ago with no incident. He could apparently change the Moon Knight during the day too. So I just don't know the stakes. I think you're right. I think if they spaced this out better, this would have hit better. This would have hit better for me at the end. But there's a lot of great moments to see, and this wasn't a failure by far. It just sorry. I enjoyed the back and forth between the gods, Khonshu, and the I can't remember her name. What's
Ammit?
Ammit. I thought that was Ammit. I think that was really good lore building for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I thought that was a pretty. I'd be interested in the fight, and I hope that character isn't gone with Harrow, because I think there could be more stuff to do with that later. And I like the switch between when they were losing, and then they woke up and he's like, "What happened? Did you do this?" I thought that was interesting. I just wish they followed up with it. It's something else.
We're talking about in this episode or the season? No.
This I feel like in this episode, because you hinted that he might be the more violent or even powerful alter there, right? And so it's like, hey, did you do that? Like, I felt like he could have came out again somewhere else in this to like, even if because for some reason Marc cares about murking people now. I don't know where that came from, but if he was like, no, better humanity, and then all of a sudden that switches, and he's still like not even him just his hand goes and shoots the guy or something like that, and be like, what was that? Like, even that would have been something. I don't know. It just wasn't enough for me.
For me, this episode was what I liked about it was I think it was a satisfactory emotional moment for all the characters of the season. So I felt like Marc, Steven, Layla, Khonshu, and Harrow all have emotionally satisfying moments that you feel like the time you spent with these characters over 6 episodes was worth it. I like the scene where alligator lady Ammit is going around to the individual to Harrow and being like, he's like, I'm not worthy, you can kill me. And she says that it's okay, I'm gonna use you as a weapon at this. And I think Ethan Hawke sells that. Really, really sells it in a way that not all Marvel villainous actors do. And the same is I think true with obviously the Steven and Marc stuff, and then the Scarlet Scarab stuff. I think it's just all the characters. I was I'm glad I invested time with them, even if the episode, as we've talked through here, has its ups and downs. And Khonshu's I'm back, and him sort of explaining, why he is both a good guy and a giant dick in this episode was very satisfying. And I just was very satisfied with where the characters ended up. And that was for me the big thing that I found satisfying about this episode.
He's not a hypocrite. Harrow, when he was like, oh yeah, I thought my penance might have balanced my skills, but it's cool if it did it. I already got a network set up for you. Murk me, go about your business. I was like, you know what? I kind of respect that. I kind of gotta respect that in your villainy. He was like, no, I'm good. And it turned out that she was actually the hypocrite, because she was like, I'm it's all right. Your scales are unbalanced because I'm going to you're going to do these things for me. You know what I mean?
I guess Kyle didn't like anything in this episode.
No, it was a lot. Like I love the knee to the face. That was great. That looked like it. That was like the splash page scene that they just tried to bring to life. Like that's really what it looked like to me when they did that knee to the face. I like the flip back and forth between Mark and Steven, between Moon Knight and Mr. Knight. I even like how they nodded towards um, the actual comic book look of Moon Knight with, not the mask on, just the hood. Like that was really cool that they did that shot. There was definitely a lot to like in this episode. Like I'm not trying to be too hard on it. It just missed something for me. It was a good episode. Like if I didn't have what they already provided and then they just showed this, I might have been happier. But I feel like that the Jake part at the end, it should have been earlier. Like it should have been in this episode. And maybe if you would have added Steven at the end, like if you would have had Mr. Knight as just a personality all by himself in this fight, and like now Mark's like, yo, how did what the you know what I mean? Trying to figure out what the hell was this? You know what I mean? Like Steven's dead. What is going on here? And then the reveal that we get is when he wakes up in the bed, still chained to the thing, and Jake and Steven's back. It's like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And we would have had, and then we would have been trying to figure out, okay, well, let's learn more about Jake, who just popped up in this season and was very violent. And now people are now going to comic book stores buying comic books trying to figure out who the hell's Jake. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like that fell flat. But there was a lot to like, especially Power Rangers fight at the end, where two giant beings are fighting.
Is Jake Spanish in the comics? Is that alter Spanish in the comics?
No, he's a New Yorker.
No.
He's like a New York cabbie. That's his identity in the
Oh,
comics.
so that's what the cap comes from.
Yeah, and he's driving the car.
Yeah.
Right, like
okay, all right.
They purposely chose to lead into Oscar Isaac's like Spanish heritage for the character. That Marvel in an interview they talked about that.
Right.
You know what I have enjoyed is that I don't know anything about this character. Well, I mean, so besides like every once in a while he was a guest star in like a Spider-Man comic or something like that. I don't know much about this character, so everything was new to me. I felt like a normie. I was like, "Oh, what is this? I don't know what this is."
Okay. So you know what? I do have a question for you. So take out your comic book knowledge, right? Take out all of that. How did you feel just watching this as someone who doesn't know anything about the character? Is this a good introduction to a character you know nothing about? Also, without connecting, because now I don't want to confuse. Are you saying thank God they didn't connect this to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and so I can really get to know this character without like Iron Man and Spider? You, Anthony. Because you know your knowledge of this character is limited, right?
So I thought it was a good introduction to character. I think what you didn't do was you didn't show me what the limitations were. You know what I mean? Like we know Spider-Man's pretty powerful, right? But we know if somebody put a bullet in his head, he's gonna die. Like we know, we know their limits. We know Cap has done some fantastic things in Marvel movies, but we know he's not surviving point blank, Mjolnir to the skull type of thing. You know, we got limitations and boundaries, and so now it kind of feels like that Matrix Reloaded, where they're just taking hits, and I don't know what's a damaging thing. You got knees to the face. Does that matter to you? I saw you get impaled. Do all the avatars have this kind of resistance? What's actually can kill you or damage you? What is actually, and then you just start flying. So I mean, I don't know. So I guess I like the character, but I think that's more because of the performances we got. I think nothing about this made me want to go pick up a Moon Knight comic though, just because I don't. His power level is somewhere between I can change the heavens, but yet I'm still like, is he only melee fighting because he wants to? Like is this a choice, or does every avatar have a different power level? I don't know. Like I think that's my issue, and it might be a thing just with me. I don't know where the danger comes from this character. I mean, to this character.
Okay, well that makes sense. I did really like his Moon Knighterang, so those were cool. Anytime he used them, but I'm I'm conflicted, right? So my thing is, I was having a conversation with a friend, not a Marvel friend, who just really watches the MCU and loves the MCU, and just anything MCU is great for them. And they were really let down by this one, and I was trying to understand why. And I think for the most part, if they really enjoyed Cap, right? Well, it's not, well, yeah, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. They really enjoyed that one. Um they liked WandaVision, and I think, and so it started making sense to me that they wanted this connected to the MCU, right? And I think that's where their whole, like, their issue is. If you were going to connect Moon Knight to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where do you think he pops up in first? I'm saying Thor, Love and Thunder, because why not?
You got Gore the God, but that's another thing that's missing in this is it should have been some kind of connect to Thor, because you have all these gods. You have a guy whose name is literally God Butcher. That's going to be the main villain in the movie, and we didn't see any gods get butchered.
Yeah, I think that I don't think Moon Knight will show up in Thor, but Gore's gonna have to kill a bunch of gods, right, to be the God Butcher in that movie. And like, obviously, I mean, this is a spoiler, like, but like they did officially say today that Russell Crowe is playing Zeus, and that trailer there's clearly Olympus, right? So there's going to be a big set piece battle where Gore butchers the Olympians. So like there needs to be like an opening sequence where you see Gore also like killing gods. I would not be surprised if a couple of Egyptian gods are murdered at the beginning of that movie, and that is where we see some of this Moon Knight mythology show up again. And there are, if you know anything about Egyptian mythology, like critically missing gods that don't have avatars, Anubis being the big one, right, that aren't present here. And you could explain that maybe Anubis gets killed by Gore the God Butcher, and that's why a different Egyptian god is running around doing the things Anubis should be doing, right?
Oh, that would make sense.
Like Tawet is not the goddess of the afterlife who should be doing this like ferrying souls around thing. Like that's Anubis's job and weighing souls, right? Like that could be a connection, and that'd be a cool connection. Like Anubis getting slaughtered by Gore at the beginning is just something that anyone who remembers Egyptian mythology can find cool. But those of you who watch Moon Knight, you're like, oh, this is like something that's tied into Moon Knight, right? I could see that happening. Blade is where I think Moon Knight will show up again.
See, that's where I think he belongs. But maybe I think that this last episode made me feel like I thought Moonlight was like just above street level and power level and concern, right? I didn't think he was going around battling with Thor and all them. You know what I mean? Like there's like Daredevil and Punisher. Spider-Man's like above that. Like he do either tier in a way. And I always thought Moon Knight was in that kind of sphere. Is he not? Am I wrong about that?
There's inconsistencies.
Recently, he's like the median Moon Knight storyline is like he's just less powerful than Spider-Man, right? Like like the median Moon Knight, if you took like all of his stuff and tried to like synthesize it, he's like Batman with the occasional supernatural powers, right? So like he can do Justice League level stuff, but most Moon Knight stories don't involve Justice League level stuff or Avengers in the context, right? But he can roll with them when the story demands.
And he has a phenomenal healing.
Yeah, that is a thing from the comics.
Okay,
yeah.
Oh no, good.
He could take a beating, like in the comics, like there would be a sequence where like he would get stabbed like that, but it'd be bloodier, and it would like take him a whole rest of an issue to heal, like that kind of stuff.
Okay, that sounds more interesting to me, and I think I think this is where I'm kind of confused. I am worried that they're going to put Blade in situations I don't want to see Blade in. I don't want to see Blade with the Avengers. You know what I mean? I don't want to see Blade fighting aliens or in space. I don't want to see any of that. Blade has a specific niche. I want to see Marvel supernatural heroes deal with supernatural ish. You know what I mean? Like there's a rough that, and some people can cross. Like Doctor Strange can cross over sometimes. like he's a character that can do that stuff. If you're Professor Xavier and you just look up and Doctor Strange's astral projection is going through the psychic plane, you don't question it. He can do anything. Like he can do those type of things. I don't necessarily want to see Ghost Rider versus Thanos. I know there was a good story recently, but I don't necessarily want to see that. I want to see Werewolf by Night, and
that's actually true.
Huh?
That comment right there is very true. There's a story called Age of Khonshu. That's actually true. That did happen.
So, but that's where I think I'd like to explore some of the like Ghost Rider. I'd love to bring that Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. back to do a show trying to find Johnny Blaze or whatever. And I think this could be a whole other subset of Marvel horror-esque type things, and that's what I would like to see.
Well, we are getting that, right? Like, I mean, they haven't officially said that the special that they're working on is Werewolf by Night, but it's Werewolf by Night. Like, there's a Halloween special coming out this year that's Werewolf by Night.
Wait, they didn't announce it?
They've announced that there's a special coming, but
they didn't announce it now. I thought they said it. Hey, okay.
Have they said it now yet?
I don't think they did
officially. It's just like everywhere. It's like one of those open secrets, right? In like kind of like how Toby and Andrew were coming back in No Way Home. Like nobody was saying in the advertising that it was happening, but like, were you really that surprised when they showed up halfway through that movie? Like, it was a great moment, but
I'm with Ant, right? That he shows up in, you know, that his actual or the actual Moon Knight lore is going to be probably somewhere in the plate, right? But watching this episode, gods fighting gods and all of that, I think putting him or putting a part of the lore in Thor makes sense. You know, not necessarily him, but a part of the lore makes sense. You know, but again, to Ant's point, his power sets show that he can take Mjolnir to the chin and survive, especially what you saw on the show. So, hold on. We got one more comment. Characters like Moon Knight, great because they can bridge between a lot of power levels. The kind of characters.
But where's the danger come from, Pat? Like where's the like? If you had to discuss how to take Moon Knight out right now, like if Iron Man's sitting there trying to figure out how to take out Moon Knight, what's his limitations? What's the weakness? What's the?
Here's the thing: Moon Knight might not even be real. Like that's the
Are we dealing with the Max? Is this the? You remember the Max? This are we dealing with the Max here? Is that what it is?
To be very honest, when we got to the very end of the show and we ended up back in the asylum, I'm like, hold on for a second. They almost had me in the first half, and I was like, oh, did any of this did this happen or not? And so I was very excited that it did happen. Just blow up the moon, Anthony. That's how you get rid of Moon Knight.
and even then, you still probably won't because he's not real, or he is real.
Yeah,
it's so inconsistent. Like, okay, is any of this real? What parts of this? Because, like, mind you, they play with this all the time. Where Moon Knight recalls stories where he's interacting with people and be like, dude, no, we didn't do that. Like, what are you talking about? Who are you? Or it's like, hey, it's Moon Knight. It happens all the time. So it's like, you don't know if he's real or not. It's very inconsistent.
Because I'm telling you, that whole thing, how did we get there? Did you forget what I'm the god of? I'm the god of the night. I can fly. What?
I thought they were gonna do the thing from, I think the second or the third episode where he just he ends up in Egypt.
That's what I thought he was gonna do.
I thought they were gonna do that. I don't understand why they made him fly, but I guess it increased attention because are you gonna get there in time to stop Harrow? I think that's what that was supposed to be.
Cool to Neo. And then I thought he was gonna fly in the Harrow. Why'd you stop? Just ram the guy. Just ram the guy. Keep it going.
Because it's cooler to see them run up the Great Pyramid of Giza, and
okay.
Come on.
Because the plot demands it.
Like, it's a cool scene, right? You got two people running up. The first time I saw a pyramid, wouldn't it be cool if people were like running at each other on that? That would be cool.
We saw that in Transformers though.
Don't
Anyway. Anyways,
we
thank you
don't
guys.
discuss that.
All right.
Khonshu,
Okay, I
please.
know now. Thank you. No, thank you guys. Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Ant, for coming through. Thank you, KB. Really appreciate you guys. The next Marvel show is Ms. Marvel. Will I be seeing you guys there? I'm guessing that's a no from Ant.
I mean, I watch everything. It's my curse. I'm pretty sure I'm running off my penance so I can balance my scales, and I have to watch anything. Mystery Theater. My life is pretty much Mystery Theater 3000.
Okay. So can I count on you for a review show? All right, great.
Yeah.
All right, looking forward to that, guys.
Read Mighty Avengers, the Mighty Avengers on the all new, all different Mighty Avengers before watching this.
And real quick though, in May, June, we're getting 2 shows a week, right? We get Kenobi and Miss Marvel, right?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
Kenobi. Did y'all see that last trailer?
Yeah, we were talking about it.
I want to have faith. I really.
It's gonna be good.
Back.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I promise.
You're my only hope, Kenobi.
I'll be here for Kenobi if you want to do Kenobi.
All right, great. I'll see you for Kenobi and I'll see you for Miss Marvel. Thank you guys. Also, please like and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one.